All right, so you want to know about Audi Crooks and how she went about losing weight.
Yeah.
You sent over a blog post that breaks it all down, and then a news article that talks about the reactions she got.
Okay.
So let's get into how she did it,
Sounds good.
how it's affected her basketball game, and maybe even what we can learn from it.
Okay.
What I think is really interesting is she was already a total star before she decided to lose the weight.
Yeah.
It's not like anyone was telling her, hey, you got to,
Right.
this was all her.
Yeah, she was already really successful, you know?
Yeah, like wanting to push herself even further.
Yeah, and it really shows how self-aware she is, and that drive is just so impressive at that age.
It's really inspiring, right? Like seeing someone just taking control and wanting to improve.
Absolutely.
The blog post really emphasizes that this was all about her performance and her health,
Yeah.
It wasn't about looking a certain way or fitting into some sort of mold.
Exactly. It was about being the best athlete she could be.
Okay, so let's talk about the how. The blog goes into her diet and her exercise plan.
Yeah, and there's some really interesting stuff in there.
All right, so first the diet.
Okay.
Sounds like she switched to a really balanced plan with lean proteins, complex carbs, healthy fats.
Mm-hmm.
But the big thing was focusing on whole foods,
Right.
cutting out all that processed stuff and sugar.
And when you think about what she does on the court,
Hmm.
all those explosive movements, all the endurance she needs,
Yeah,
it makes total sense. She'd want to give her body the best fuel possible.
that's such a good point.
Yeah, it's not just about the number on the scale.
Right.
It's about making sure her body is performing at its peak.
I actually tried something similar a while back.
Oh, yeah?
I cut out processed foods for like a month just to see, and honestly,
Wow.
I had so much more energy. It was amazing.
It's crazy how much of a difference it makes, right?
Yeah.
Just goes to show you, food really is fuel.
Yeah.
You put in the good stuff, you get better results.
Totally. All right, so beyond the diet, the blog talks about her exercise routine, and she does it all.
Oh, yeah.
Running, cycling, HIIT workouts, weightlifting, bodyweight exercises.
It sounds pretty intense.
It does. That HIIT part is really interesting, though.
Yeah. High-intensity interval training.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for burning fat and improving your heart health.
Yeah,
And you need both of those things in basketball.
for sure, for those bursts of speed, and you have to have the stamina to keep going.
Exactly.
Do you think that's why she saw those improvements they mentioned?
You mean like her speed, agility, and all that?
Yeah.
It's very possible HIT really pushes your body to adapt.
Mm.
You become more efficient with how you use energy, and you recover faster,
Interesting.
like taking your heart to the gym.
That's a great way to put it. And you know what I was surprised to see?
What's that?
Yoga.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that for basketball.
It's actually really smart. Basketball is hard on your body.
Oh, yeah.
So using yoga to stay flexible helps prevent injuries.
Right.
And then there's the mental benefits too.
Oh, right.
Yoga can help with stress and focus, and those are just as important for athletes.
That's true. She's thinking about it all, isn't she?
Seems like it.
And, this wasn't just like a casual thing for her.
Oh, yeah.
The post makes it clear she really pushed herself, especially when it got tough.
That mental toughness,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
always talk about the physical side of things,
Right.
but being strong mentally is just as important, maybe even more so.
Definitely. And I think her story is a perfect example of that.
It is.
You can have the perfect plan, but if you don't have the willpower to stick with it,
Yeah,
you won't see results.
absolutely.
So what do you think is the most impressive part of her journey so far?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
But I think it's her commitment to being so well-rounded.
Yeah.
She didn't just focus on one thing. She addressed it from all angles.
Right.
Like she treated her body like a high-performance machine,
Mhm.
making sure every little detail was perfect.
That's a good analogy, and it's something we can all learn from, right? I'm seeing a theme here, Oh, yeah. It's not just about losing weight, it's about becoming a better version of yourself.
Yeah, it's about transforming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But before we go too far with that,
Okay.
let's take a break.
Sounds good. It's fascinating how intentional she was about this whole process.
It really is.
It wasn't just about losing weight. It was about pushing herself
Mm-hmm.
and really optimizing her performance.
It felt really relatable, too, Like it wasn't some crazy crash diet or anything.
Right.
Just a balanced approach that anyone could learn from.
Exactly.
Remember that news article you sent?
The one about social media?
Yeah, about all the reactions she got?
Yeah. It's pretty unfortunate that despite everything she accomplished, she still had to deal with negativity online.
I know, especially with how intense things get during the NCAA tournament.
It's true.
Just seems so unfair considering how much work she put in.
It is.
But the blog mentions she didn't let it get to her.
Good for her.
And I think that says a lot about her.
It really does. to be able to stay focused with all that noise going on.
Yeah.
It shows how strong she is mentally.
Right, like we were talking about before.
Exactly, this is what I meant.
It's like she had this inner strength that let her rise above all the negativity.
Yeah, instead of letting it bring her down, she used it to push herself further.
It's really inspiring.
It's a lesson in resilience. It's something we all need.
For sure.
Think about it. How often do we let what other people say stop us from reaching our goals?
All the time.
Audi's story shows us we can choose how we respond to those challenges.
And that true strength comes from within,
Absolutely.
not from what other people think.
Right.
Okay, so we've talked about her motivation, her approach, the whole social media thing. But there are some specific techniques in the blog post that I wanted to get your take on.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, she talks about mindfulness, especially when it comes to eating.
Oh, that's interesting.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about what she was eating, but how she was eating it.
How so?
She talked about really focusing on each meal, chewing slowly, savoring the flavors.
Huh.
It almost sounded like a meditation.
It's about being present, appreciating the food, really listening to your body's signals about hunger and fullness.
Exactly. And you know what? I think that's something everyone can benefit from.
Oh, for sure.
We're always rushing, always on the go.
Right.
It's so easy to just scarf down food without even thinking.
Absolutely.
But if you slow down and pay attention,
Yeah.
it changes your whole relationship with food.
And it can really help you avoid overeating.
Right.
And make healthier choices.
And then there's the self-care stuff.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Things like meditation and hobbies to help manage stress and stay balanced.
Which is so important.
Especially with how demanding her training is and, all the attention she gets.
Definitely. It shows she understands that well-being isn't just one thing.
Yeah, it's not just physical.
Right.
You have to nurture your mental and emotional health too.
Yeah. And I think that's a big part of why she's been so successful.
It's all connected, isn't it?
It is.
The diet, the exercise, the mental toughness, the mindfulness, the self-care.
It's like a recipe for success.
Exactly. But not just for weight loss, for life in general.
It's about creating a lifestyle that you can actually maintain.
Okay, so we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
But there are two more things from the blog post I wanted to ask you about.
Okay.
She mentioned intermittent fasting and portion control.
Oh, yeah. Those are pretty popular these days.
Yeah, have you ever tried either of them?
I have.
It's interesting to see how she used them.
Yeah.
So intermittent fasting, it's all about cycling between eating and fasting.
Right. And it can be really effective for losing weight and improving your metabolism.
The post didn't say which type she did,
Okay.
but it did emphasize that she never starved herself.
Which is important.
Yeah, it was about timing, not deprivation.
And that's key.
Yeah.
You have to approach it safely and find what works for your body and your lifestyle.
Right, it's not one size fits all.
Exactly.
And then there's portion control.
Which basically means being aware of how much you're eating.
Right, it seems pretty simple.
It is. But it can make a big difference when you're trying to manage calories.
Without feeling like you're depriving yourself.
Exactly. It's about making conscious choices and paying attention to serving sizes.
So it sounds like she used both of these techniques to be really precise with her calorie intake, but without affecting her energy or her performance. It worked for her.
It did.
It just goes to show you there are lots of ways to reach your goals.
Yeah.
You just have to find what works for you.
Experiment and personalize it.
Exactly.
This has been a really insightful deep dive.
It has.
We've learned so much about Audi's journey.
Yeah, and all the things that helped her transform.
And we're not done yet.
We're not.
We still have some more to discuss.
That's okay.
And a final thought to leave you with.
Sounds good.
So stick with us. We'll be back in a moment to wrap things up. So we're back, and I gotta say, what really stands out to me about Audi's whole journey is how she took this holistic approach. Yeah, it's impressive, right?
It really is. She didn't just focus on one thing.
Right. She really addressed her well-being from every angle.
We're talking diet, exercise, mental toughness, mindfulness, stress management, self-care.
The whole package.
And you can see the results. She didn't just lose weight.
Yeah.
She got better at basketball, improved her overall health, and she can handle the pressure that comes with, being in the spotlight.
Her story is a great reminder that success isn't just about the end goal.
Right.
It's about the journey, the growth you experience along the way.
That's such a good point, and it makes you think about how often we get caught up in quick fixes or wanting to see changes overnight.
All the time, right?
But Audi shows us that real change takes a different kind of commitment.
It does.
It's about building a lifestyle that's going to support your goals long term.
Makes sense.
So as we wrap things up here, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
Audi's story proves that real change is possible.
It does.
So what small step can you take today
Yeah.
to move closer to your goals?
Like, what could you try?
Maybe it's being more mindful when you eat, or trying a new workout,
Those are good ones.
or maybe just taking a few minutes for yourself to relax and recharge.
You deserve it.
Because remember, true success isn't about what anyone else expects.
Yeah, it's not.
It's about what you want for yourself.
Exactly.
And Audi choosing to put her health and performance first on her own terms,
Yeah,
that's inspiring.
it really is.
Yeah.
So how will you define your success?